Welcome to the world united. Welcome to the world united.
Say welcome everyone, and thank you Ankita for that detailed introduction. So I would like to talk about astrology and human evolution. Human evolution is, I think, another way of talking about spirituality. And since this is a pure spiritual segment, I'll talk about how this science of astrology, it is the science of the rishis, let's remember. Because nowadays, a lot of people have started saying, no, astrology is not required if you have spiritual practice. A lot of people have started this song, which is completely inaccurate. It is a wrong claim. It is a false claim. Please don't get into it. And I see that very learned people are also getting into this, which is a trap, which is a wrong thing. And I'll tell you why. Let's talk about the Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama is the head of the Tibetan Buddhists. The Tibetan Buddhists have gained their knowledge, as Dalai Lama says, from the Nalanda tradition, which is from India, from this country, India. And they have their Tibetan Medical College, they have Tibetan medicine, which seems to be a blend of Ayurveda, Greco-Persian medicine, and also Chinese medicine. And in that medical college, holistic medical college, they also have an astrology wing as part of that college, Tibetan astrology. So the Dalai Lama goes on to say that every major physician should be a minor astrologer, and every major astrologer should be a minor physician, which means that astrology and healing have to go together. Astrology is an understanding of the person's blueprint. It is an understanding of his interconnectedness. So if we're talking about oneness and we're saying, no, astrology is not important, then we are making a mistake. So the soul lessons that a person needs to learn are indicated by astrology, are indicated by the blueprint which is shown in astrology. And at the time the person is born, the sky at the time of his birth is depicted as into 12 parts. I'll just show you how it looks like. It's depicted in 12 parts. And it is shown in 12 parts. So you'll have to open your eyes to see and observe that your life and its lessons and its challenges as a signature in the universe is depicted in the sky above it, above the sky above you at the time of birth. And we take a snapshot of the sky in terms of 12 signs, which is 12 parts, which we call as 12 houses. From these 12 houses, if we look at the seventh part, which is the seventh house, we can talk about marriage. If we talk about the 10th house, we can talk about your lessons, your challenges, your opportunities, your threats in the area of career. So in this way, each of these boxes, each of these houses gives us vital information about the person's path in each life, in his life, in this current life. So astrology, from what I see, it is a SWOT analysis. It is a SWOT analysis. And it is a way for people to know their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. This is very important. Otherwise, we go on, doing so many things, but if we don't know what is our strength, we will not be able to succeed and progress on what is called as the path of least resistance. So astrology helps you to find your path of least resistance. It has helped me to find the path of least resistance. It has helped my 3,000 clients to find, in some way, get an indication of the path of least resistance. As you might have heard from Ankita, that I'm also an engineer by profession, but that was not my path of least resistance. So I decided to get into this field of astrology, and I feel I'm helping and contributing for the last 15 years through this science of astrology. This is the science of the rishis. So it's a spiritual science. It comes through the awakening of the higher faculties, the spiritual faculties. Astrology is not only a science of reading the charts, but it's also an art. It's an intuitive art. So it brings all these elements together. And as a person goes on practicing astrology, his intuition starts growing. His intuitive faculties start growing. His healing faculties start growing. This is the beauty of astrology. And the astrological chart, as I've said, it's the chessboard of your karma. It's how the pieces are laid out in your story, in the story of your life. It's very interesting. And my friends, nowadays a lot of people talk about sun signs, zodiac signs. They talk about things which come in the newspaper. Let me tell you that that is just 0.1% of astrology. You look at your sun sign and you say, oh, today Aries will have a good time. Today Taurus will have a bad time. This is absolutely just 0.1% because the sun sign is based on the position of the sun. And we look at 9 navagrahas and 3 outer planets, which is 12 planets in total. So you don't even have 1/12 of the information when you're looking at the sun signs in the newspaper. So please refrain from doing that. It's a very limited information. It's okay for fun, but let's not take it too seriously. And the approach which I take to astrology is of evolution. It's a spiritual approach. It's an approach for knowing your true self. So in real yoga, astrology was taught to people first. Before asanas, pranayam, whatever other things come, they were taught astrology first because astrology will help them for the diagnosis part. So Dr. Yugandhar, Dr. Mahendra, all of them are surgeons, all of them are doctors. So they always do a diagnosis before performing the operation, unless it's an absolute emergency, which is a different case. But normally they will do some diagnosis to understand the problem and then they will go ahead. So in the same way, to understand our existential crisis, we have to look at the astrology charts and then move on because that gives us a head start. That gives us a perfect diagnosis. So friends, very important, let's consider this point when we think about astrology next time. Let's not just listen, someone saying on YouTube, what's the point? Why did our rishis give astrology? And our astrological texts, my friend, they are as old and some of them are even older than the Vedas. And they have come from rishis like Parashara. They have come from rishis like Jamini. So let's not get into hogwash, and what I agree with is that nowadays a lot of astrologers are following a fatalistic approach. They'll start predicting, tomorrow ye hoga, you will die on so and so day. So all this fatalistic approach has to stop. We have to empower people through astrology. We have to bring them to the state of oneness. We have to bring them to spirituality in their own way. For Vasant, spirituality might be, to play a game of cricket and then come and sit silently. For Krishna, it might be to paint something and then sit silently or do something. So, and for me, it may be chanting. For Shivaya David Giriji, it might be going to temples. To find that unique way, which is meant for everyone, we need that tool of astrology as a diagnosis tool. And it's a very effective tool. I'm an engineer by profession. I've used my analytical skills to analyze more than 3,000 charts. And I can tell you that it works. That's all. I'm not born in a traditional Indian family which believes in astrology. I did not hear about astrology Kundali till I was 22, 21 years old. So it's something that I picked up and something that's really worked amazing. And my friends, I'd like to end on this note. I think I've given you enough information to know about astrology as a tool for diagnosis. Definitely meet a conscious astrologer, someone in your heart who you resonate with, and definitely you'll get a lot of information, you'll get a lot of inputs, and you'll definitely shorten your learning curve. You'll definitely have a head start. Cheers, everyone.